The topic of today's call is the price build up all the way through the transition to the close. This is the price buildup is one of my favorite parts to teach. It's actually probably the part that I kind of like to make people laugh a little bit as well. It's very exciting. It's extremely important to do. And I'm going to talk about the mistakes that people have when they do a price buildup and the mistakes that people have when they do a close and kind of the psychology behind it. So, whenever it comes to their overall price buildup, there's a lot of psychology points behind it. You want to make it seem as if it's a big deal to the customer, right? Guys, this is the first time they have ever seen a presentation. So actually, I say the price buildup starts with the page that you're on, the commitments page, because the way that you explain those commitments is crucial, right? If you're just reading it line by line, just mumbling through it, it doesn't sound very good. You have to have your voice inflection. It's not what you say, but it's how you say it. You have to be enthusiastic and explain, like, guys, we're the only insurance company that on all those commitments, it pays cash directly to them. It doesn't interfere with any other insurance that they have. Like I said, insurance, it's not going to interfere with your other disability insurance through your job. We will never drop you. You can keep this insurance. We have to romance some of it a little bit, some of the lines, and just kind of, put it in, kind of dumb it down and make it so they actually understand the words on there. We will never drop you. You can keep this insurance for the rest of your life. Like I said, whenever you retire from here or leave the job, you can keep this wherever you go. We will never raise your rates no matter how many claims that you go through. Like I said, the price is locked in at your age for the rest of your life. Guys, most insurance companies don't do that. So whenever you explain that to people, like whenever you call us, a live person from the United States actually answers your cell phone. That's what Mr. Jones really liked. A live person is there for you if you ever need us. Guys, those examples, whenever you read those line by line, you really got to just put emphasis on it and make it seem like it's a very big deal. This is the very first time they have ever heard that. So you got to be excited, because I've seen a lot of people just kind of read that word for word and just like they're reading it as like a check mark thing, and it doesn't sound very good. It doesn't sound very exciting to the customer, right? So you really got to build emphasis. You're really building up the value before you even do the price build up. So I'm just kind of want to throw that in there. So when you get to the price build up, you kind of just ask them, Miss Jones, how young are you, right? So that's a great way to ask it. Don't ask them how old they are. Ask them, how young are you, Mrs. Jones? And if they want you to guess, always guess way lower than what they really are. 30, if they look like they're in their 40s, I'm like, you're in like the 31 to 35 age category, correct? And nod your head and smile. People love that, guys. Always guess significantly younger if they want you to. If they're not, so make sure that you do that. Okay, gives a good laugh out of them. And guys, here's the bad mistake I've seen a lot of people do in the price build up. This is a very big question that I see a lot of people say is this. So, Ms. Jones, how much do you think something like this would cost? That is the worst thing that you can say in the price build up, because what a lot of people say is going to, $5 a month. And guys, if you're showing them an elite cancer policy that costs $150 plus the ICU is going to make it $200, you just shot yourself in the foot, right? So never ask that question. How much do you think something like this is going to cost? That's the most common thing I see a rookie do. That really you just threw away the entire presentation out the window, right? You just blew a wide open layup, like if you're playing in a basketball game, right? So what we do is we compare this product to how much health insurance costs, right? This is kind of a similar field. So we get them to see on what health insurance is like. We also see it, guys, people get health insurance two different ways. They either get it through their job or they get it on their own. And we got to make sure that they see it of how expensive health insurance is if they have to get it on their own, right? So I'm going to give you guys an example. If you're talking to a self-employed person, it's super simple to do a price build up because they already know on how expensive health insurance is. Or if they have a family member that's self-employed, and they have heard how much health insurance is if they don't get it through their job, right? So most people know that health insurance is really expensive if you don't get it through the job. Like I would say 99% of people know that it's extremely expensive. So what we do is we compare, guys. And right now, health insurance, Guys, you can go find tons of articles online. I'm not going to go sift through all these different articles and show all these different examples, but guys, there's a lot of examples that show health insurance is between about $1,000 to $1,500 a month right now for the average family. Some people can pay $2,000 a month. Some people pay $2,500. Like I literally had a customer last year that paid $2,500 a month for their basic health insurance for them and their husband in their upper 50s. That's pretty ridiculous, right? But most people pay between about $1,200 and $1,500 a month for a family of four, right now. So we say that. So Ms. Jones, and guys, your hand gestures is very important here. So whenever you get right in front of Mrs. Jones, you're like, hey, Ms. Jones, so you're in the 31 to 35 age category, right? So I'm going to show you how much this costs. Now, Ms. Jones, have you seen how much health insurance costs right now? And make sure your hand is very high, like how much health insurance is right now. So Ms. Jones, you get your health insurance through the school system. So they actually pay for most of your health insurance. But have you seen how much your health insurance would cost if you didn't work through the school system, if you were self-employed, or you just bought it all on your own? Have you seen how much it would cost? Yeah. The average family is paying between $1,000 and $1,500 a month right now. Some people pay more than that. Some people a little bit less, but that's about the average for a family. The good news about this is that it's not that much. Okay. So for the cancer policy, for the elite level for your family, okay, the elite level is $91 a month and the preferred is only $55 a month. That's not bad. Okay. And that little intensive care, the bonus plan, the ICU plan, the elite level is only $50 a month and the preferred is $25 a month. And that's not bad, is it? Boom. You go straight from there. You don't hang out on the price page. That's another key thing is you don't want to hang out on the price page because they are not making a decision right now whether they're going to buy it or not. So you just go from there to the return of premium page right after that. Okay. So yeah, you pretty much go over the prices for the elite and the preferred. And you can tell them that in Ms. Jones, obviously we have lower options too, but the two packages I've shown you were the elite, that's $91 a month. The preferred is $50 a month. We obviously have lower options too. Most people get the elite or the preferred because they're not bad. And then the ICU, the elite is $50 a month. That one I was showing you. We also have the preferred, that's $25 a month. And like I said, we also have lower option on that one too. But most people get one of the two higher levels of coverage because they're really good. And also, the best part, Ms. Jones, is the return of premium. Remember, I told you at the very beginning, if you don't use this coverage, you get all your money back. Well, that's what this is for. So, Mrs. Jones, and guys, the return of premium page, super important. So this is kind of like the transition between the price buildup and the transition to close. You need to go over every single detail on this page extremely in-depthly and kind of finesse it a little bit. You need to explain, kind of dumb down what it says, because if you just read it, every single thing, like I said, like the commitments page, if you just read it word for word and don't put any emphasis on it, it doesn't sound as good. So it's the way that you explain it to Mrs. Jones. This is the first time that she's ever seen this page. Yes, this may be the 2000th time that you've explained this to somebody, but this is the first time that you've ever explained to them. So make it seem like this is a big deal, guys. This return of premium page is the reason why we separate ourselves from Aflac and from Colonial, our two biggest competitors. This is really the one thing that we do that they don't do, right? We obviously have better customer service as well, but this is the make it or break it page. So put emphasis, be excited when you get to this part. So this is kind of how I explain this page, the return of premium page. So Mrs. Jones, after 25 years, all the money that you pay into the policy that you didn't use, you get all your money back. Okay. So after 25 years, you're going to get all your money back. And you get to keep your insurance for the rest of your life after that. So you get your money back, but you still get to keep your coverage. Also, Ms. Jones, if you pass away for any reason before the 25 years, all the money that you paid in that you didn't use, that money goes back to your family. Okay. So you said you had 2 children, so they can be your beneficiaries. Whoever your beneficiaries are, the money goes back to them if you pass away. Okay. So Ms. Jones, there's 3 situations that can happen. Okay. So let's say situation number 1, and this happens for a lot of people. Let's say that you get signed up just like Mrs. Jones did and your friend Terry did. You get signed up today. You're alive here in 25 years. You're 50 years old, 55 years old in 25 years. You never been diagnosed with cancer. That's awesome. all that money you paid in, the $20,000 or $25,000 or however much money you paid in, 100% of that money goes strictly back to you, tax-free. Now, let's say that you bought it and you're diagnosed with skin cancer, and we pay you back $5,000 over the next, 25 years. But that's the only time you ever use it, was just for your skin cancer diagnosis. You would still get the leftover difference that you didn't use. So you would still get that leftover $15,000 that you never did use. Okay. Or let's say that your husband, let's say that he goes through colon cancer, like you said, his father had, a few years ago. Let's say that unfortunately your husband gets colon cancer down the road, and we pay you and your family back $65,000. Now, in that situation, you wouldn't get any money back in 25 years, but you still get to keep your coverage with us for the rest of your life for the exact same price. Like I said, we can never drop you or raise the rates on you. Okay. So you're going to be able to keep this coverage forever regardless. Now, don't you wish all your other insurances work that same way? Right? That's a great, don't you wish all your insurance work like that? Guys, that's a line that everybody says, yeah, like your car insurance, your health insurance, want to be nice, right? So guys, now, once you get there, I'm going to try and share my screen from my iPad, just kind of share you guys on how I do this. Share screen. There we go. Now I'm using my iPad here. So here we go. So this is the how I do my transition to close, guys. And like I said 1,000 times, people buy on the approval of others. So let's go to the return premium page. And guys, you just got to know, whenever you're doing this, the transition to close is super important because it gets them talking. It's almost like there's a funnel. You start off really wide with really wide responses, and you narrow that down into a funnel to being very specific to exactly what you need before you start the application process, guys. And guys, I see a lot of things. I see a lot of folks skip the transition to the close, and then they lose a sale. Like they'll have a prospect, and they're very interested, and they skip this part. They go straight to the application. So they go straight from the the return on premium page, going over all the benefits, the prices, the return on premium page, and they go straight to the application. Oh, so let's see if you qualify. And then that prospect, guys, that's an abrupt transition. That's like running into a brick wall. It's almost like, I told this to an agent, it's almost like if you're going on a first date with somebody, and then by the end of the first date, you're asking them to marry you, right? That's pretty substantial. Like that's a pretty big transition, right? There's no steady transition right there. So guys, that's the purpose of the transition to close, is to have that steady transition from going over the benefits, a smooth and easy transition into the application to whenever you're getting their account information and all that personal stuff, right? So, and it needs to be done word for word by the book every single time. This is not a part of the sales cycle where you fluff up stuff, where you just add a bunch of cool things that you think that's going to work. This is not that time. Every top agent does this word for word the exact same way, right? And it's the what, why, how question is done, and it's got to be very specific. And know this, you have to listen a lot right here, and you have to hold your lip. So whenever you ask a question, make sure that Mrs. Jones has every single thing out before you start asking the next question. Okay, make sure, because the more that she speaks, the more that she's selling herself, because psychologically she's thinking, okay, man, this is some great benefits, good price. So what's kind of coming next, And then whenever you ask her these questions on why it's important for her to have this, and she's telling you why, she's selling herself on why she needs to have it. And then she's pretty much making that decision right now in the transition to close that she's going to go ahead and buy it, right? So if you don't do the transition to close, they're not selling themselves on why they need to have it or that they're going to actually buy it. But if you do a very good transition and close, they're doing the work for you because they're selling themselves. So the more that they speak, if somebody wants to speak for 2 minutes on why it's important for them to have a backup plan, my golly, let them talk. This is awesome. The more that they speak here, the better. So we need to, kind of shut up and listen at this point and make sure that we're asking the questions the right way. So I'm going to go ahead and do the transition to close. And guys, it also needs to be tailored. If you're doing a transition to close to somebody who's 60 years old, it definitely is going to sound a little bit different. And the names that you use right here is going to be different than if somebody who's 25 years old. And make sure that you're showing the pictures and the names of other people that's bought it. who relate to them. So by this point of the presentation, you should already know probably 2 to 5 people that are hot names for them, like people that like, hey, I already have 2 of their coworkers who signed up, so I'm definitely going to drop these names in the transition to close. You know, their brother's already a customer, or just this other guy that he said that he recognized from my pictures that he went to high school with. You know, those 3 or 4 names, I'm definitely going to throw at them in the transition to close to put the nail in the coffin, to really seal the deal, right? So make sure that you use the hot names here that just make sense for that person. You know, so if you're talking to somebody who's about to retire, I would just be using the names of the other people that are kind of in the same age bracket who are also about to retire. So just be smart about what names you use. So this is kind of what it sounds like. So Mrs. Jones, you know, you're a young family, right? So everybody gets this, Miss Jones, for different reasons, right? So Lewis Lore, like I said, you said you knew him. He's an auto mechanic down the street. He also has a young family. He bought this for him and his wife as like a peace of mind, because he's like, man, I'm the only one that works. I definitely don't want to be a burden on my wife and my son. If something like this were to happen to me, right? Like I have to have money coming in. It's a great peace of mind for me and my family. Okay. And he also said he knew Sally Strutt. She runs the tan salon down the street. Sally, she bought this for the peace of mind as well, but also the security feeling, you know, because she says, she's like, man, you know, I run my own little small business here. I definitely don't want to lose every single thing I've worked for on one sickness, right? I've worked really hard where I'm at. I want to protect what I've worked so hard for. And you also said you went to high school with Heather and Jeremy Ham. You know, they're very young. You know, they like the peace of mind for their young family, but they also like the return of premium, because they like the fact that, man, they plan on being around here in 25 years. They like the fact that they're forcing themselves to save money in addition to protecting their family. Now, Mrs. Jones, what did you like the best? Was it the peace of mind or the security, or a combination of both? And wait, they will say something. Most people say the peace of mind or both, right? You know, the combination, you're giving them a couple choices. It doesn't matter what they choose. Every choice is a good choice for them. It's a choice close. And then whatever they say, let's say they say, oh, I like both. This is what you say. You pause for about 1 or 2 seconds after they say it, and you say this: why is that so important for you, Miss Jones, to have that? Like, so why is this so important for you to have a backup plan for your family? And wait, and just pause. And guys, this is when they really sell themselves. The second question, where they get really more specific. And this is the point where, like, oh yeah, like I saw what I did for my brother's dad a couple years ago, and just blah 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 blah. And guys, wherever they say, it's awesome. Just be quiet and let them fully get done. And once they get done speaking, wait another second or two to make sure that they're done speaking. And then you use the last part of the transition to close, which is the how question. And you kind of summarize what they said. So it sounds like this. So Mr. Jones, how would that make you feel, knowing that you would have that big peace of mind for your family and be able to protect you and your husband, but also knowing the fact that, you know, you guys are still young. So knowing the fact that, man, if you guys just live for another 25 years, it's also a great savings account for your future. How does that make you feel? And I'll tell you what, gang, 99% of people say, oh, that makes me feel great. Yo, yeah, that's awesome. You know, or whatever they say, like, yo, yeah, I like that part too. And then you're done with the transition to close. And what you do next is this. You go back to your app. Yep. And the best part about it is how simple our application process is. You know, what we're going to get today is just your basic, like your name, date of birth, address. But before I offer that to you, I do have to make sure that you qualify first. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you a couple basic health questions to make sure that you qualify. Okay. So Mrs. Jones, the first health question is, you know, have you ever been diagnosed with cancer before? And then ask the health questions, right? You don't ask their permission to ask the cancer questions. You just say, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you qualify. I'm going to ask you a couple basic health questions first. So the first health question is boom. And you just kind of go straight into asking it, right? So boom. Yeah, that pretty much wraps up the transition to close. And then, you know, I'm not going to teach on the whole application part. That's going to be for another part. But guys, that was any takeaways or any notes that you guys have from that, from the price build up, the commitments page, all the way going through the prices, return of premium, transition close? Anybody have any notes or any takeaways from that?
Definitely showing pictures. That's
Well
something.
done, Kyle.
What were you saying, Chase? You said showing the pictures. What, can you
Yeah, that's
elaborate on
something.
that a little bit?
Yeah, just because I really like. There's sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I just go straight more towards the application. But just showing pictures and while you're going through the presentation, at least think of 3 to 5 people, or at least 3 people of who you can relate that their situation to.
Yep. And Chase, why is that so important for you, man? Why is that so important for you to have those pictures for you to close people?
Because people buy on the approval of others, like you said.
And Chase, how would that make you feel knowing that you would have those great pictures to show people, but also knowing the fact that you're just be adding money? I'm totally kidding, guys. I'm just doing a close on Chase on the what, why, how close. But yeah, guys, it definitely makes sense, guys. You get people to speak more when you show, guys. People buy. I tell this every single day. People buy on the approval of others. On the approval. So it doesn't say in the sales talk, add names here, add names here. But every page or 2 pages, if you're not sprinkling in some names, you guys, we all have names. All you have to do is go download them on your iPad. If you don't have pictures, download them on your iPad and use those names. We didn't have that ability when I first started here. So I was just using only the people that I met. But now we all have the ability to use all the other customers in our area. You have hundreds of names within a 50-mile radius, every single person. So use those names because people buy on the approval. It doesn't matter if they know them or not. But the longer that you're here and the more people that you sell, and if you work your territory tight, you can start connecting the dots with these customers. And it's fun because everybody that you're sitting down with will know somebody unless they're brand new to the area. And it's exciting. So make sure that you're showing those names, the commitments, guys. It starts with emphasizing the way that you say certain things in this business is important. We all have the same words, but we can't say the words for you. You have to show extreme enthusiasm and emphasis yourself. You have to put that extra effort in. This is a sales career, right? So we get paid very good money, but you do have to put extra emphasis. So, just even like the basics, like going over the price build up. If you don't do a price build up, it's going to be hard to get people to buy insurance from you. And if you don't do a transition to close, it's really difficult to close at a high level. Anybody else have a takeaway from that?
No, that was a great call, Kyle.
Well, thanks, Noah. All right, guys. So I'm going to go and stop the recording.